I'm Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And today we're going to be talking about what's really going on.
Yeah, what's really going on?
Margaret, I think a lot of people, when they're going through their breakup, are in a situation where they're like, what's really going on here?
Because it doesn't make any sense.
A lot of times breakups don't make sense.
No.
They are so confusing because the person that's doing the breaking up says things that just don't add up to why they're leaving you, right? Like, why are they really ending this? I don't understand. We've been together for this many years. We talked about married, or maybe we are married. And so it can be really tricky to figure out what's going on. Of course, that's why we're here and do coaching. You know, I always say this at the end of the video, but if you want to get our help, it's very easy. You just sign up for a coaching on my website, AskCraig.net. I do email or Skype coaching, and Margaret does Skype coaching.
Right.
So it's very easy to get in touch with us. We have a system that's very nice and simple to get once you sign up, we send you easy instructions to follow, even a little video link that they can watch to how to do everything, fill in their time slot, nice and simple. I like to make things easy for you guys, right? Because I know how anxiety provoking it is.
Yes, the whole thing is anxiety provoking.
Yeah. So that's how you get in touch with us. I often hear questions about how to do that or emails on the website. Just click on coaching on the website. So today I had an email coaching that I thought was an interesting one. Thought I'd share it with you guys. And this is from a guy in his mid-30s. And he was with this woman who was in her late 20s. And they were together for about a year and a half, right? So he said she lives with her parents, which I thought was a little unusual because she's very close to 30.
Yes.
And I live by myself in an apartment. Neither of us have any kids. They both have professional careers. And he said that the problem was communication and that she becomes extremely cold and distant when something is wrong. Okay? So maybe she doesn't communicate well, but let's go further here and see what's going on.
Okay.
Okay, he says the breakup. Month 15, I guess, of them being together. This was in January. She began studying for an exam she needed to take to obtain a special certificate. She began to pull away, me thinking it was because of the test. I made sure not to pressure her and gave her space. We saw each other about once a week during that time. So that seems reasonable. I mean, if she's got a big test, you don't want to put any pressure on her. Things started to unravel the first 3 months of this year as she became more cold and distant. It got to the point where we had sex twice in those 3 months, whereas before we had it about once a week for the past year. I asked her if she was okay, and she told me, no. She hadn't said anything, but all of a sudden he asks now, and it's no. So that would take you by surprise.
Yes, it would.
Because you haven't told me anything.
Right.
And now, wait, something's wrong?
Yep.
She came over the next week to talk, and she broke down, telling me that she needed space. Now, mind you, they've had quite a bit of space in this time already, only seeing each other once a week.
Yep.
I agreed. She said she didn't know where her mind was at in that time. I asked her if she meant she wanted to break up. She agreed and broke down.
Broke down crying,
I guess so. Yeah. But you can imagine what a shock this was for him because he didn't even know what was going on. She wasn't telling him.
But good for him for asking. You know, are you okay?
Yeah.
Something's different in your behavior. Good for him.
And now he's like, are you wanting to break up? And she's saying yes.
Okay.
So let's see what happens. She left that night. Later that week, called and said she wanted me back. So now he's probably thinking, great, we're going to fix this. Right?
Probably what he's thinking.
Yeah, and who could blame him? She said she wants to break up. Now she says, I want you back.
Right.
The following week, which is the week of the exam, she came over to talk again, and we made up. He said there was no sex, but it didn't feel right. I don't know if he meant that they didn't have sex or because something didn't feel right.
Probably the whole thing. Right.
The day of her test, she came to my place. I wanted to go celebrate, but she had plans to meet her cousin who was moving out of town.
Ah.
Which sounded suspicious to me.
I want to know if he ever heard about the cousin before.
Well, yeah, I wonder too. And he even said, I'm not sure I'm buying that.
No.
It didn't feel right. She just had this big exam. You would think she would be relieved.
And wanted to celebrate with him.
Exactly.
Who had supported her through it and given her the space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or at least come with me.
Yeah.
With the cousin.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Why is he being excluded? Sounds very suspicious to me. Later that weekend, she told me she had been thinking what was missing from our relationship was the friendship foundation. She had always been friends first before getting serious.
So she's been serious before.
I'm not buying this.
I'm not either.
They've been together for a year and a half at this point, and now she's saying the reason she wants to end this or what's missing is the friendship? Come on, I don't believe it. It just seems like an excuse. Okay? We set a date to talk again the next week, but she never showed. So that's rude.
Absolutely.
He did.
If she had canceled, that would be one thing, but she just didn't show up.
Exactly. Now,
I guess he was supposed to meet her somewhere.
I don't know if there was a definite time and place, like a definite date set up. It sounded, I got the feeling like yes. He said, I called her out and she played dumb. Now, come on. You set a date with somebody, you're going to talk, we have all this going on, and you forgot.
And you forgot.
I don't believe it. Just nothing's lining up here. I let go, and later that week, she went out with her coworkers and didn't tell me. So she's got time for the coworkers. She's got time for the cousin, but she doesn't have time to tell him what's going on here. I'm not buying it. She then removed our photo off of her Instagram. Okay. Meanwhile, you still haven't even talked, right? I told her to come by, and we talked. She told me that she needed to focus on her career and couldn't be in a relationship at the same time. It's getting deep in here, Margaret. You got your boots on?
I do.
Got your... Because
I
we're
have my
stepping in some BS.
I have my shovel also.
And she'd been planning to move at the end of the year. Come on. This is nonsense.
Out of her parents' house, I gather.
I guess so. But, you know, all of this is not lining up for me. We broke up at the end of March and kept talking for a few weeks into April. I cut contact and I haven't spoken with her since.
Good for him. Yeah.
Yeah. I stayed off social media, and last week I decided to look at her Facebook. She removed me on Facebook, and the news feed showed that she was in a relationship with, ready?
Yeah.
The coworker.
Of course it was the coworker. That's why she went out with the coworker.
And supposedly the cousin, a.k.a. the coworker? Probably. Which is why I think she didn't invite him to go out with the cousin, because I think it was really the coworker.
That didn't add up to you either. Yeah.
And it would explain.
But as soon as she went out with her coworkers, I thought, oh, now we know he's a coworker. Yeah.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Get this, Margaret, he had announced it and posted a photo of them at the beach. She had no photos of them. I checked Instagram and we're still friends, but she isn't friends with the new boyfriend, meaning on Instagram.
Right.
So it had been hidden from him on
Yep.
Instagram,
Yep.
and had he not looked at this guy's profile, he wouldn't know they were together. But he posted it, she was still hiding it.
Yep.
Now he says, we had talked about marriage late last year, which was only shortly before the breakup.
Which could be extremely important.
Mm-hmm. You want to talk about that?
Yes. She may be avoidant. And one of my thoughts, when you hear the couple has been together for a year and a half, and suddenly there's a change, I always wonder if one party is avoidant and if they had begun to talk about making a commitment.
That's right.
Because that can scare an avoidant right out of the relationship.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. And it was shortly after this.
Yeah.
I mean, sounds like within a month,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
He says, is this a rebound relationship, and will it even be serious or last? Okay. Well, to me, this wasn't a rebound, because a rebound to me is like you've met somebody after you've broken up.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I think she left him to date this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I would consider that slightly different than a rebound,
Right.
because she left to be with this other guy. That's what it appears to me, which it felt very suspicious all along for this particular situation here. And so, will it last?
No.
Probably not.
Probably not. And if she is in fact avoidant, you can be sure it won't.
Yeah. The question is, Margaret, what really happened here? Based on the information she gave him, you really don't have anything to go
I have
on.
absolutely no idea.
Right? Because there was no real reasonable reason why she's ending this. From what, at least from what she told him, according to what we've read here. Now, the real reason that I'm picking up on, and you are as well, is that they were talking about this relationship going to the next level.
Absolutely. And if she's avoidant, that would be the panic button for her.
Yeah.
We also don't have any idea about the implications of why she's living with her parents. It's not a crime to live with your parents when, you're young.
But when you're close to 30.
But when you're close to 30, it's a little bit unusual. So you don't know if someone was sick, if somebody particularly needed her, if she has in fact done the separation individuation tasks. You just don't know any of that.
Yeah.
But at face value, she looks avoidant to me. And sure enough, when we see that kind of a breakup, we look for, was there any talk of marriage, of making a commitment? Was that anywhere on the table? And sure enough, it was.
Sure. So, in a situation like this, what he really has to explore is what is going on here, why this didn't last. You know what I mean? Far beyond her reasons here. Because if you're sitting here, if I'm him and I hear all this stuff, nothing's making any sense.
No, it isn't.
Right? And even as we're putting it together, a lot of it doesn't make sense based on what she's told, based on our, expertise and seeing this time and time again. Mm-hmm. We have a better feel of what's going on here. So she needs to figure it out. Like, if she isn't ready for marriage, then, she needs to come to terms with that.
That's okay, but say that.
Mm-hmm.
And this sounds like a nice guy who
Mm-hmm.
was thoughtful, gave her space to study for her test. And, if you don't want to make a commitment, say that.
Yep.
And give the other party the option to leave the relationship before something kind of tragic happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he's got, as painful as it is, he's got to leave her alone.
Yep.
He's got to let her figure out what she wants to do here. And then if she comes back, you better take it slow, and you better find out real reasons as to what's going on with her, because she didn't communicate leading up to this falling apart, and she didn't communicate about why this is ending. And so you better get real communication before you invest in her again.
Absolutely. Don't rush back into that. And I think it's interesting the time she broke up with him and wanted him back within a week. So it sounds like part of her did not want to break up with him, and another part of her might have been terrified.
Yeah. And I think part of her is feeling guilty, which is why she's hiding stuff on the different social medias, and this other guy is probably pushing for it, which could wind up blowing up in his face
Yep.
because he's pushing her to do things too quickly, which I think is going on. But, give it some time and take it very, very slow if she reaches out and you really want to hear communication as to what happened if you're going to take this, and give this another chance. Because if not, this could happen again.
Yeah, and you don't want to live with somebody who's not going to be upfront with you. She did acknowledge that she wasn't okay when he had the good sense to ask. But yeah, you don't want a long-term relationship with somebody who can't be upfront with you.
Yeah, because she could have had this going on even further. She could have said, let's get engaged. He buys an engagement ring, thinks they're going to get married, starts planning a wedding, and then she just backs out.
Yep.
And he has no idea why.
Right.
So you better see that she's willing to communicate and really talk to you. Don't just get back with her because you're anxious.
And don't take surface explanations for things.
Yeah, not if you're going to invest your heart into this girl, because you'll get hurt, right?
Right. Yeah. Don't let it happen again.
Okay.
And I don't want this guy to beat himself up wondering what he did wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us do something wrong occasionally, but it doesn't sound like he did anything to really precipitate this. In fact, I thought he handled her studying for the test very nicely.
Yep, he didn't pressure. So, see how it goes. Let her commit to this and show that she's willing to repair it and act like an adult. And if she is, then you could take it slow. But, I mean, if she's just going to give these nonsense answers or reasons, don't continue this.
But you need a believable reason of why this happened.
Absolutely.
And if you're unsure, couples therapy is always a good alternative.
Okay. All right. So hopefully you found this one helpful. Of course, if you want to get my help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Margaret is available for Skype coaching.
If you feel that I can be helpful to you, please sign up.
Just click on Margaret on the top of the website to do that. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And we will talk with you soon. To get my help personally, go to askcraig.net and click on Schedule Coaching and choose the option that works best for you. I do email coaching or Skype. To schedule a coaching with Margaret, click on Margaret on the top of the page and order a Skype with her. For the Knowledge Creative Healing course, click on the link at the top of the page and click Get Started Now.